Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today I'm really excited to bring to you, I know I say that a lot, but today we're looking at from the Missing Link line, this is Sunstreaker. And this is the first time in a very long time we've had anything close to the original G1 toy. Now for those of you who may not be familiar, Sunstreaker is a very important figure. Reason being, this was the first car-to-robot transforming figure designed for the Car Robots line, and I do think ever created. So that in itself is very important. The other thing is, why haven't we had a Sunstreaker toy in a very long time? Well, many years ago, almost 35 years ago, there was a shipping vessel on the Indian Ocean, and it sank. Now, as far as I know, the crew was okay, but on that vessel were the original steel molds for Sunstreaker, Wheeljack, the G1 Dinobots, and a couple of G.I. Joes, I think from that first year. I know definitely Cobra Commander, which is why that original Cobra Commander figure has never been reissued. Those molds were lost, and thus those figures have never been reissued in the commemorative edition, book box, encore. Now, of course, Hasbro and Takara could, if they were so inclined, retro mold from pre-existing figures those molds to make the reissues. But that cost would have to be passed on to the consumer. And let's be honest, I don't think any of us will want to pay that much extra for that. I mean, let's look at the more recent G1 reissues and what they originally retailed for. An original G1 Sunstreaker, would you want to pay close to $75, if not closer to $100 for it? I don't know. So it's very nice to have it here in the Missing Link line. Another bit of information that you might be wondering is, where did this car come from, the original design? Well, as we mentioned with the mini-bots, Takara made other toy lines that they then drew from to turn those vehicles into Transformers. Like the mini-bots were from the Choro Q or Penny Racer line. Sunstreaker and the other car robots were actually based on slot car designs. Slot car racing, very popular in Japan, so that's where that came from. So it's very interesting. Now, right off the bat, let me tell you, first of all, I've had a hard time coming to grips with how small the packaging is. I had Sunstreaker as a kid. I got it as a mail-away figure. My mom got him for me, and I just remember the box being so much bigger. But the other thing is, this is a very heavy toy. This is a lot of die cast in this hand. And basically, when you get out of the box, all you got to do is pop these little separate pieces in the back. We'll get into that in robot mode. But there's some heft here. The other thing that I'm having a lot of fun with, rubber wheels pinned in. I can't show on video just how great that, like, I not show, but I also can't describe the feeling and how great it feels to roll a car with rubber wheels on a surface. Like, you can feel the tires gripping the surface and pulling along. It's just that fantastic. Also, as a bonus, if you go ahead and pop open the canopy here, as many of us learned later on, these figures had canopies because they originally came with drivers. And Sunstreaker, along with its Diaclone repaint, Cordon, the police car, both include pilots or drivers. Now, Cordon's is a simple Diaclone driver. But Sunstreaker here, this is painted to look like Spike. And very nice, very, very small. If we had any of the Diacron toys as a kid, you know how small these guys are. But the arms can move, the legs can move, and the feet are magnetic. Let me grab my little grip here. And as you can see, this is what I used to hold my cell phone. It's magnetized and the feet will stay on. Now you can leave Spike here in the car for the transformation. I'm not going to do that because it's a little trickier, and I'm afraid of it like falling out, getting stuck, because there's a little bit, some tricky parts here and there. But other than that, we're going to pause, and when we come back, we'll get into the full transformation. Okay, so to start off the transformation, if you haven't already, go ahead and open the canopy here and remove the driver. Next, what you want to do is grab the figure from both ends here by the wheels and pull until it slides forward like so, and the legs are fully extended. Next, what you can do is separate the feet from the front here and then rotate them up. Next, what you want to do is grab the ankles and actually bring them out to the side so the legs are a little more lined up with the heel. Now come around the back here, and just these little yellow pieces, which are going to work as the ankle heel spurs, you want to straighten out just like that. With that done, come around to the back here, bring down this black panel, and now you're going to fold out what is the arms. First, bring this top piece down, rotate it out to the side, bring it down. All of this is ratcheting right there, so you just straighten out what will be the elbow, unpeg this section, and by the way, these arms do have to go back in a specific order. This arm goes down, this arm tabs into here, and this arm will tab into the top here. It won't work the other way. So now we have that done. The next bit is going to be flipping up the chest and the head. And this is where it can get a little tricky. First, what you want to do is pull forward, and that will bring up the roof, the windshield, the side windows, and this back section. What you want to do is rotate this around, and in doing so, you're going to push the cockpit in, and then you want to fold. There's a hinge here that wants to fold up, and it gets you might have to get your thumb in there. Oh, and if it pops out, it'll pop out. But fold that hinge down, and that will help get the canopy, the little cockpit, into place. Tab that section down. Make sure this is all folded down and straight, and then bring up this back section and press down firmly until it snaps back into place. Finally, with all that done, grab the exhaust section here, flip up the head, and here you have Sunstreaker in its robot mode. Now, if you remember on the original toy, there were some extra pieces. Now, before we get into that, one thing you can do, remember those little ankle bits? Go ahead and tab them back together. Now, the figure did not have real hands originally. The hands were extra pieces that you had to peg in because they were actually missiles. And you can do that on that side. You can take off either one of these shoulder bits, which, by the way, they say take off for the transformation. I don't feel the need to. That can work like that. Does that launch? No. No. Yeah, no, that doesn't launch. These don't. These aren't spring-loaded. Sorry. You can do it like that, or they, as on the original toy, you do have included missiles. They don't launch, but this does. But this can recreate the original effect, just like that. But as with all, and you do have an extra fist. But as is the case with Missing Link, everything is more than meets the eye. And so, as we go ahead and remove these original accoutrements, like that, You can open the forearms and flip out actual articulated hands on either side. Just like that. And of course, go ahead now and separate the legs, pose them up a little, and since this is going for more of an animation accurate look, there is an included blaster which will peg into the fist. The hands open basically like that, so you can have a little open action. The head does rotate. You have hips, knees, ankle pivot. You know, use those little spurs in the back. You can actually have some real fun here in terms of articulating Sunstreaker. Now, there are some limitations. I mean, and the arms are somewhat gorilla. And once you start moving stuff around, you do see the limits to being a G1 style figure. But all in all, it's not that bad. And I am very impressed with how Sunstreaker came out. So, how about we pause and we'll come back with my final thoughts. I really appreciate what Takara did here with Sunstreaker, giving us basically the best of both worlds. A version of Sunstreaker that, first of all, just bringing back the original G1 toy, but then giving us that extra articulation we enjoy. Definitely think this is worth a pickup. I got mine off of Amazon Japan. It and Cordon were popping in and out of stock over the last week. So if you can grab it there, great. Hopefully it'll pop in again. I know Hasbro Pulse, Big Bad Toy Store, they should be getting theirs. Well, Big Bad says around October. I'm thinking they might get it a little bit sooner, so just keep an eye out. But it's a great addition to the Missing Link line. Yes, the figure is a little pricey, but I think the price is worth it for what you're getting. And what you're getting is a classic update to a G1 figure we would have never have gotten. And I'm very excited now to see about getting the two versions of RC. Unfortunately, I would have gotten Cordon, but it was a price issue, you know, so maybe I can pick up Cordon down the line. But definitely, I really am looking forward to RC now. But that's it for the review. If you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe. Sign up for my Patreon, www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. But as I always say, if you can't afford $1 a month or $12 a year for my Patreon, your views are more than thanks enough. Patreon is just a cherry on top of an already generous sundae. Once again, this is your old pal Chuck for Missing Link Sunstreaker. We will see you next time. And I do apologize if you've been hearing some weird beeping. My gimbal was making some noises. It happens.